Your business needs help. 56.1 million employees are employed by small businesses in the United States, and 99% of all U.S. establishments are small businesses under 250 employees. That means that your business should be listening to the only podcast dedicated to small business success. That's Growth Success Radio, growthsuccessradio.com. Welcome to this week's episode of Growth Success Radio. Good morning and welcome to Growth Success Radio episode 22. We are 22 today. This is the show for small business owners and for marketers and for anybody who works with small businesses to learn more about how small businesses can be more successful. We're live every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and the show is sponsored by Traeger Insurance and Scott Gombar Digital Marketing Agency. Eugene, tell us about Traeger Insurance.
Before I do that, why don't you show us your face?
Oh, God, I forget that every week. See? There we go. There's my face. You probably better off looking at the graphic anyway.
All right. Well, Traeger Insurance, we are an independent insurance agency based out of Meriden, Connecticut. And what independent means is, unlike the state farms or the Allstates, we have multiple carriers, which means we can pretty much find insurance for anybody, any business, any situation. I am president of the commercial lines, so I'm in charge of growing and managing our commercial book of business. So I primarily deal with business owners.
That's good. We like talking to business owners on here.
Yeah.
So I am Scott Gombar, owner of Scott Gombar, creatively named digital marketing agency, and what we do is we help businesses find highly qualified clients using all things internet. So if your refrigerator connects to the internet, I might use it to find you clients. And this show is Growth Success Radio. As I mentioned, this week we have, I'm going to mess up your name, so you want to tell us what your name is?
Sure. My name is Abdul Maklad. I'm a founder of Perpetual Personal Training, based out of Hamden, Connecticut, and more than anything, it's great to be here. You know, I'm very thankful that you guys have me over.
No problem. So this is No Pants Friday. That means one of us is not wearing a pair of pants. It's your guys' job to figure out which one of us it is. Eugene, did you go to work without pants?
Yes, I always do that.
Well, you fit right into downtown Meriden then.
Yeah, nothing like whitey tighties. I just walk around Meriden with whitey tighties.
Yeah, when it's 11 degrees out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 5 degrees when I put my son on the bus this morning.
That extra closeness, that hug.
Oh,
By the way, it's supposed to be like 50 degrees on Tuesday with rain, so we'll all have the flu by the end of next week. Something we're doing this week we haven't done before. If you're listening live and you tweet us out, share it on Instagram, a little more challenging for you, or share on Facebook and use the hashtag success hacks. I'm gonna put it in there. You will, Eugene, you can't win, sorry. You will, the person who does that the most gets a t-shirt, a Growth Success Radio t-shirt. As a matter of fact, let's use some of my tricks here and show everybody what that looks like. So while I'm doing that, Abdul, thank you for joining us. Eugene, do you have any updates for the insurance world, insurance people, anybody who should have insurance, which is everybody?
Everybody should have insurance.
Everybody should have insurance.
Besides that, I just read an interesting article about Philip Morris, is that there's still lawsuits being filed against them. So the most recent lawsuit was filed in Massachusetts over 10 years ago, and it's still ongoing. And there's a group of people that are trying to sue Philip Morris, telling them that because they smoked their products, they have to provide them with chest scans every year to make sure they don't have cancer. So that's what the lawsuit's all about, and it's still ongoing over 10 years ago. It's not really directly related to insurance, but it kind of is.
Well, yeah, because who's Philip Morris going to go to for the money?
Exactly. And
Yeah. So,
and it gets into the whole aspect of life insurance with all those people and everything else.
so those are our T-shirts. Eugene's had the privilege of seeing them already, but nobody else has. So this is the first time the rest of the world has seen it, unless you've been to growthsuccessradio.com, which they are on there. So if you don't want to tweet us out or Facebook us out, share us on Facebook with the hashtag success hacks. Try to say that 5 times fast. Then you could also purchase one from growthsuccessradio.com. Maybe I'll bring it back up a little later in the show. But in the social media world, so Twitter is doing away with their chronologically ordered timeline and going to a relevancy ordered timeline. So what does that mean? That means if you're not relevant, you're not going to be found. Kind of like Facebook, the way Facebook does things now. They go by relevancy, not by unless you change it. You can change it to chronological, which you will be able to do in Twitter for now. So that is not going to change, at least not immediately. But they're going to switch to a relevancy-based timeline. So some of those irrelevant tweeters will drop off the planet, maybe. And again, this is No Pants Friday. Success hacks. We always have at least one success hack from each show. That today will depend on you, Abdul. So you're going to tell us about what's going to make people successful. So again, this is Abdul. Tell me the last name again.
Maklad.
Maklad. I would have messed that one up, by the way. So tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I'm a personal trainer I started this path as a personal trainer, right? Before I founded this business, Perpetual Personal Training, and it really started with way back when I started exercising at the age of 12. I was in Egypt at the time, taking middle school and high school there. And from it, I was able to experience such a unique way of training. Set an example, like we used to deadlift with 3 broomsticks duct taped together and cinder blocks on either side.
Wow.
So very basic, very down to a T. And what it did, it gave me such an intuitive sense of what biomechanics are. The mechanics of the body are I've really become in tune with it over time. From it, I had a knack in the training world. I've always had one. And what I did is I decided to really go with it. I really decided to make this my career. I'm a healer at heart, and that's something that I found myself that the more I progress in this realm, and it really falls down to what is it that mankind needs and how can I partake in that? So it's the physical side of healing is something that I want to be part of. It's great in that sense, and I've always been thinking outside the box, or even to the point where I don't have a box to think in or out of. Wherever knowledge takes me, I'm going to go, and I'm going to focus on it. So
part of that question was supposed to be what makes you unique, and I think deadlifting with broomsticks and cinder blocks makes you unique.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's the origins of it. It's evolved too many times for me to count. Way too many times for me to count, for sure.
Okay.
And you just you see how interesting this realm of training could be, because it's the sense of equipment is very unnecessary. We have the ultimate machine, we just don't utilize it properly, and that's our body, right?
Nice.
All right. So how did you ultimately decide to be, a personal trainer, wellness trainer, and why?
It's a personal trainer is something that I've done ever since I was maybe 15 or 16, right? I started at the age of 13 when I started training, and I started gathering information and just experiencing new ways of training. And from that, I've never really put a title to it. I always help people in the physical realm. It's like, if that knee bothers you, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try that, and see what happens. And then I graduated college in 2013, and I've been focusing on, all right, let me focus on something that I could do. And I majored in molecular and cell biology and took that into the personal training realm. So, typically typically when I come to address anything, it's like I'm going way too nitty gritty into the cellular level, and then I have to bring it back up so somebody could really understand where I'm coming from and explain what I do, and then I focus on, and then with it, I just focus on making sure that I'm on top of recovery. It's what we need. We are an overactive society at the end of the day, and there's a lot of recovery that needs to be done. So that's where I dwell. I've people that want to lose weight, that's great. It is a path of being healthy, but it's not the top priority. And that's why I decided to build this business. It's just to have it so that I could focus on what is the most important thing for health. And I'm not talking about what's visible. It's when I could sit there and train somebody for 6 months to bring their shoulder back half an inch to where it belongs, that's worth it. It's hard to market, but it's absolutely worth it because there's less tension on the spine and their movement is a lot lighter. Like I often hear it that people feel like they're moving lighter, they're walking lighter when they're done with training with me. And that's what we're looking for at the end of the day. It's not necessarily the weight that's on you, it's that two muscles are fighting against each other.
Nice. I think you sold me already. I'm coming to visit.
There you go. See?
So we hear, I'm going to use myself. I'm going to use my personal interaction. And so we hear so much about nutrition, about exercising, there's so much information out there. I remember a time when they said that Chinese food was really good for you. Then like 6 months later, Chinese food is the worst thing you can eat. And it's, eat this, don't eat that. People used to drink diet soda like there was no tomorrow. I never did. I never could take the taste of it anyway. Now they tell you diet soda is actually worse for you than regular soda. So all that information that's out there, what are some of the issues you see with some of the advice given to people from people in your industry?
It's specifically speaking, it's movement in and of itself is healthy, right? But the way that people perceive it, or the way that it's being introduced in the industry, is a way that it's a way that could have the potential for not being healthy because it comes with a sense of obsession. I need to move. I need to move. There's too many times that I've heard somebody say that they slept 4 hours the previous night and they still go to the gym. You're way better off spending that time sleeping. Way better off, right? It's regulated. It's when you come to look at health, it's hormone balance, nutrition, movement in that order. And when you look at the industry, for the most part, it's going backwards. It's movement. Then they're like, all right, let's incorporate nutrition. And then I don't even know how much people address hormone balance because there's a disconnect right there. Most of the times when people talk about hormone balance, you're looking at doctors. Doctors are talking about it, and then personal trainers don't talk with doctors, right? There's no communication between medical professionals.
Very true.
Right?
Very
true. So that really sets the tone in that realm. It's the flaw that I see with it is that, we should be addressing it, hormone balance, nutrition, movement. We should start up there, and then we progress into our realm, into the realm that we could interact with. The physical side is easy to address. It's easy to address. It's just hard to tie it with the rest of your life. Right.
So how does that, I've kind of touched on that. I'm stealing Eugene's thunder here, but how is that, was that your phone ringing, by the way, Eugene?
Yeah, I was trying to shut it off because it goes into my computer and everything.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No worries.
That's okay. We'll see you out in the street later. Snowball fight in front of Traeger Insurance later on, or actually with
ice. So we'll be throwing ice at each other.
Yeah, ice ball fight. We used to do that growing up. So, how do you achieve? I mean, I know you're not going to be able to explain all of it, but how do you achieve hormonal balance for let's say, the somewhat naive?
Okay. So when you come to look at hormone balance, it's a little bit more. Let me put a preface to this. I pull knowledge wherever it's prevalent, right? If it's whether it be Western medicine, whether it be Eastern medicine, if it makes sense to me, I'm trying to incorporate it as best I can, right? So when you look at hormone balance, that actually ties to the 7 chakra lines extremely well. This is Eastern medicine, right? So they were able to tie the entire endocrine system to the 7 chakra lines, right? So that means that, believe it or not, it's going through meditation. It's knowing how to calm your mind. It's knowing how to be able to sleep well and know where your priorities are in terms of health, that it comes to that point where you know how to address hormone balance. And look, every day that passes by, I'm learning something new about hormone balance. And I'm very, very interested in it, you know. So it's so every time. So you ask me about this tomorrow, and I'm going to have a tangent of this, but in a more specific direction. Like right now, I'm going trajectory. I know it's in meditation. I know that it's in understanding how energy flows through your body. And now I'm interested in going into that. So like now I'm actively pursuing. I want to get certified in Reiki, because from that you need to acknowledge aura. That thing that we're not used to acknowledging it. We don't know how to tap into that. It's because it's been shut off in our civilization for so long. You know, so, you know, people talk about the spirit, but they don't know how to address it. And that's something, you know.
We have a comment from Roxanne. Roxanne has been in and out of some of my blabs in the past. She says hormone imbalance is horrible for metabolism.
It's true. It's true.
Okay.
And we're talking about in the solar plexus. Yeah. In the solar plexus, when it's underactive, that would do it. And there's an interesting blend to it too, because it's so if there's 7 chakra lines, right? 1, 3, and 5 tie with one another, and 2, 4, and 6 tie with one another, right? Have you ever seen there's an image in medicine where you'd see a snake coiling around itself?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So that originally stemmed from those 7 chakra lines. And then it's the first 6. It's the first 6. So it's 1, 3, and 5, 2, 4, and 6. They tie together. So if you have it where, and I wish I had a projector behind me so I could explain this stuff in more detail. But it's when you have metabolism, for example, would be in the solar plexus. That means that it's also affecting down into your root chakra and also affecting up into your throat chakra. So.
Wow.
So that's something to keep in mind. So metabolism could be a side effect of, say, for example, you not being able to speak your mind. That subsides. That has it where your throat chakra is not able to express enough energy. It's not flowing. It's not flowing naturally. Right. That could be at work. That could be with a significant other. That could be out in the street. You're not able to air your thoughts, and that suppresses your throat chakra. And that could tie in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this is good stuff.
What
See,
is,
Eugene,
what
you're
is
spending too much time at Edge Fitness.
what
I'm
is
I'm sorry. What was the question?
I've never heard that before. The word chakra. What is that?
It's very hard to explain. Okay, I'll try the best I can. All right. So so chakra is.
Let's spell
energy.
it. Spell it first. Spell it.
Okay. So have you ever heard of chi?
Yes.
Okay, chi is chakra.
Okay, so spelled the same way?
It's chi, or if I spell it, it's CHAKRA, chakra. And then when you look, because you look in different civilizations and they'll call it different things, right? We might call it hormones, right? We might call it hormones, but it's in that realm. You see that there's a lot more that can be done when you see okay. Here's a way to explain it. If you look at a hormone balance, nutrition, movement, right? In movement, we focus on the circulatory system. In nutrition, we focus on the lymphatic system. That's how nutrients, major and macronutrients, are passed through the body. is through that. Now, when you come to look at hormone balance, it's in there, hormone balance, or it's hormones or meridian channels. The meridian channels is where chakra flows. We can't see it. We can't isolate it, but we only see the heat that's being expressed out of it. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's when you come to see energy flowing, they use an infrared scanner to, across the body, and we have these consistent channels. And from that, you could understand if an energy line is high or low. And and definitely something where it's I'm interested in getting to know that more. That's as far as I could wrap my head around it for now.
Okay.
Was I able to answer that question for you, Eugene?
Yeah, it's perfect. That's exactly what I need. So the next
we have to use pictures for him, so that's why I brought that.
I know.
I'm a visual person. I'm a visual person. Now,
so I love visual. I love visualization.
you could tell me, throw all that stuff. I need to see it, like Scott did. Now I understand it.
Yep.
Now I can actually talk about chakras and all that fun stuff. No, so the next question is, you kind of briefly touched upon this, but if somebody were to ask you, what areas of health and wellness do you focus on? What are they and why?
The area that I focus on now is the physical side. I touch base on nutrition. I touch base on hormone balance. But where I dwell in the business that I'm in, it's movement. We're trying to bring you as close to neutral as possible. I'm very fortunate to work with a chiropractor out in Woodbridge. His name is Dr. Louis Cofrancesco, and he has a wellness center called the Cofrancesco Chiropractic and Healing Arts. It's an absolutely phenomenal place, and I've been very fortunate to interact with him because from it he gave me a much deeper understanding of how the skeletal system should look like in terms of balance. And so the skeletal system is the scaffolding in which muscles move. Right. So, if you have it where your vertebra is supposed to be like this and it's like that, if it's leaning to the right a little bit, that means that there's muscles pulling on this side. Bone doesn't move on its own. Right. So they're highly connected with one another and they feed into each other. So, and that's oversimplified. Of course, there's fascia, there's ligaments, tendons, you name it all. It's all part of it. Right. So when you come to see the work that I do, I'm trying to bring people into physical balance as close as we can. All right. And that's going through a lot of isometric movements and eccentric movements because we overuse concentric. When you go into flexing a bicep, for example, that's concentric. Eccentric is when you're releasing that muscle slowly but surely, and isometric is when you're holding it at neutral, not letting it go up or down. So I do isometrics, which is holding it at a neutral spot, and then eccentric, where we're slowly getting it to release. And from that, we slowly bring you as close as we can to a new level of balance.
So you mentioned earlier shoulder injury, moving it back. I think you said 1 inch.
Yeah.
So let's elaborate on that. So if you're big on correcting issues before they become ailments, can you elaborate further on that?
Yeah, I can. There's so if you have it where okay, I'll explain it with how our body generally addresses an instability, right? So say, for example, whether it be through blunt trauma or improper movement, you'll find that you're loading up on a muscle or on the joint improperly. For example, and whether it be blunt trauma or whatever else, what you'll see is that that joint, okay, our body is phenomenal in accommodating and shifting center of balance to make sure that you go through the movement, right? Whatever it may be. So say, for example, your body will preserve your spine, specifically your spine, as best it can by shifting the shoulder away, hunkering in, whether it rotate forward, backward, or whatever the instability is, right? So our goal is to get it so that we get that instability, whether it be an inflammation or a muscle that's not firing, which, an inflammation is easy to feel. This muscle's tight, for example. But when you go into a muscle that's not firing, it's very hard to acknowledge because there's no cues coming from it, firing or not, right? There's nothing coming from that muscle giving you the cue that it's not firing, right? You're only seeing the effect, not the cause of the problem. So when what I do is in the work that I do is very hands-on. It's very, very hands-on because it's not only visual cue. I actually get to feel that muscle not firing. And the moment that happens, like, all right, so say for example, we need to fire your supraspinatus, just a muscle in the back of the shoulder or your subscap or whatever it may be, right? So when you come to work on stabilizing a joint back to where it belongs, it should be by retracting the muscle that's not firing instead of focusing on the one that is. And it's, massage therapy is where they'll focus on releasing tension in the muscle that's not firing, but that doesn't address the other side of that coin, which is how are we turning on that muscle, the muscle that's keeping you from not firing, from what's pushing that shoulder back into there, right? And it's like I noticed things down to like when a rib is displaced, that there's a difference there. Right. That's like, okay, so there's an obvious cue if you have say, for example, your seventh rib is not lined up, right? If the seventh rib is not lined up and it's really pushed out of line, that gives you an idea of like that could tie up to the shoulder or down to the hip. And then we have to address and assess. And I could talk about this for hours and hours, of course. So, well, let me ask you, did I answer the question for you there, or do you want me to be more specific to the shoulder?
No, what I was going to say is, why don't you give us, I know you and I have talked about it, just an example of a client, how you were able to identify an issue before it became a problem, and then I know you and I talked about a client where you told them about the issue, they didn't take your advice, and then they ended up having some type of trauma.
Okay.
That guy with the foot that ended up, remember?
Are you making fun of me?
What?
No.
Okay, so I have an example. I have a really good example with a client. He was in group training, right? He does group training classes, and then he was focusing on getting. He was just at the sense of getting into movements, right? And there was one day he signed up with training for me, and he's super excited about it. And I saw him going through a movement where his right foot didn't look like it was loading up well, right? His right foot was just loading up improperly. And I was like, dude, there's something wrong with that foot, and you should probably hold off on doing these group classes. He's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, it's fine, good. High five, move on. So he ignored me, continued to train. And then there was one time he made it into to a point where he couldn't step on his foot. He was limping everywhere. He goes to a doctor and he finds out that his right foot was fractured, right? The whole time he was going through training like there's nothing, and I was focusing on it, and I had the unfortunate, because I was shifting between jobs, and so I wasn't able to continue training him at the time, and he reached out to me, and he's like, yeah, that, I want to thank you for being honest, and you weren't going for what's pertinent to just getting me to move. You saw an instability there, and if I were to listen then, I wouldn't have been in this cast for that long. So, and that's a sense of, all right, somebody that didn't listen. Now, somebody that did. I have a client that is he's healthy. If you look at him, he's healthy. Even when you look at the spine, it's really close to where it belongs. And I've noticed an imbalance in his wrist, right? The ulna is protruding out more than normal. So, say for example, if you're having your ulna and your radius right here for the bones for the wrist, it's warped like that. Noticed it in his left shoulder, in his left wrist, right? Now from that, it's not causing pain, right? There's not a single thing that we're doing is painful for him. Right. But there's so much instability in there. Like his tricep is not firing. His shoulder is rotated forward, and he loads up into this realm where in a sense, his stomach lets go. So his stomach is pushing outwards, and he's tilting to right. I think it's to the right. So from that, it was an injury that was, I don't know, like 16 years old. A 16-year-old injury when he was playing basketball, I believe. And from that, it just stemmed into this whole process of like, all right, the instability stemmed from his T7 going all the way up to the shoulder, down to the wrist. And it's obvious and clear as day that it's there. Now, keep in mind that there's no pain. And I'm going to set a metaphor. So, if you look on a scale of 1 to 10, where you have 1, there's no pain, and 10, it takes you 20 minutes to go from sitting up to standing up, right? So around 7 is where you start feeling pain, because your body is going to accommodate so much, and you won't be feeling pain. You might feel general tightness, but you won't feel pain. It's only when it comes to that tipping point, and then it goes into that realm. So he didn't have the pain there, and basically I'm working on getting it so we slowly bring this wrist back. And it's through these rotational movements, addressing the brachialis. It's addressing the brachialis with his shoulder back here, tucked in where it belongs, right? And it's a rotational movement. It's such a small itty bitty movement, and it makes a big difference. Like he started a session when we first hit it, like when we first addressed it and we tackled a big chunk of the instability that was there. He would do maybe 12 push-ups, 15 push-ups, and then he would start getting exhausted. Now, towards the end of the session, he was doing 25, 30, 35, and I'm telling him, hey, stop, that's enough. And because we just addressed that instability. We don't want to throw it out of place yet. So he felt lighter, and he was just so energetic, and he's like, I just want to do pull-ups now. Let me go over there and try doing some pull-ups, because his muscles were in balance. His muscles were in balance for the first time in a long time, and he felt so light. He felt so light in how he was going through those movements. We got his shoulder to retract a little bit, got his wrist to be more in line, and we got his tricep to engage a little better, the long head of the tricep.
So you said something interesting. Sorry, Eugene. You said something interesting about the pain being a 7. Right?
7, yeah.
Okay. Do different people have different pain thresholds? So
I'm setting it as an arbitrary example, right? It's like it takes far more than you think it does for us to actually feel pain, right? And it's because that comparison is just to put an analogy there in front of you. It's not at the halfway point, right? That's the thing, is we're not looking at the halfway point that you're going into instabilities. It's 70% of the way there, you actually start feeling pain, right? So pain thresholds are very different, and that's something that ties, I think, to genetics, but I'd have to look into that a little more. But when you look at instabilities, and I say it because you could see people that are going through these instabilities and they're not feeling pain. They're just out of balance. And it's obvious. It's clear as day. It's clear as day that they're like, say, for example, their foot is rotated like that. They're not feeling pain, right? Walking through their day-to-day, their foot doing this and whatever. I've seen some interesting things.
I swear, Eugene told you all about me right now, didn't he? No, I injured my foot. It was more of a traumatic injury. I sliced it. I stepped on the glass, and it shattered under my foot. So still going to see the doctor. I have an appointment today, actually. And so I favor the foot, obviously. They actually gave me a boot so I could stay off the front of my foot. Yeah. And there's been some healing issues, but, I'll find out today. But, I definitely feel where, because I'm favoring the foot now, other parts of my body are starting to hurt a little bit.
It's okay. I have a great example. Where I find a lot of my aha moments is when I encounter something and I trail it to the source in me, right? So I think it was a while back. I was walking through the house, and a prick went on the outside of my right foot, right? Just this itty bitty insignificant nothing, right? And just because it caused pain, we took the prick out. It's fine. Nothing's going on. But ever since then, I've had my entire gait, everything that I do in my movement has shifted. So if I was walking like this, it went to that because of a single prick.
Right.
Associated with pain, and we didn't go back to the normal movement. We didn't correct that movement. And it was from that. It was getting knee pain, hip pain, and this shoulder. Right. And And that's so something as insignificant as a prick could alter the mechanics of your movement because you're all of a sudden you're trying to protect it.
Yeah. So those are the types of things people would come see you for. I injured my foot. Now I screwed up a couple other things. Now it's time to go see.
Yep.
Okay.
Now to put it into perspective, it's not like, all right, my foot is sliced open. Can you help me? I wouldn't be able to do much at that point.
Yeah.
Right? But it's when it comes to the point where you are recovered through the medical side, you come to my end, and then we focus on getting it to the to wherever we can bring you as neutral as possible. You know, I have a cousin that has foot pain because of an injury that's happened decades ago, like something like 20 or 15 years ago. And I'm telling him, like, dude, if not the toes, but the beginning of the toe, right? The equivalent of here, on his foot, it's doing this.
Mm.
It's just clear as day that his foot is doing that.
Oh,
right. And
That's
he's just like, dude, you're weird as hell looking at my feet. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Just I'm looking at what is best for you. That's all it is.
That's okay. Hey, Rex Ryan does it. You can do it too.
Right. But that's the thing though. It's like if his foot is doing this, then of course we want to bring it so that we could open out his movement, open out his toes to do that. I had another client that had every time he squats, his ankle clicks. And that's an ongoing process. That's an ongoing solution that I'm trying to figure out. But I was able to get, he had a similar concept where there was a rotation in there, whereas his foot is collapsing in on itself. It's tight like that and that, right? It's hard to explain. So it's there, and we were able to get it where it looked like he was actually using a flipper, like big toe, rest of his toes, and it was this. Right. And then by the end of the session, he was doing this. He was actually able to move all his digits well. And this is in his feet. So like, he was just like, wow. And that's the thing though. It's like, I don't limit myself in terms of what I do because I'm focusing on, because they all factor in one way or another. They all factor in,
So we have a question here from Ian saying, how hard is it for you to get insurance to pay for treatment?
It's basically going to be impossible. Personal trainers, I'd have to go through becoming a physical therapist. I'd have to go through being even a chiropractor. Both of them are just significantly hard. So the difference that I do is that over time I'm going to evolve it, and I want to see how I can make that happen because at some point in my career, I want to have it so that I develop a foundation so that we work on your budget. That's so like, and then what we'll do is we'll do the rest of whatever the rate is as charity work. And that's something where I want to see if that's plausible and doable because it's, in a sense, I want to be able to do it so that people aren't tethered with what their insurance offers them. So it's a way for me finding a way just so that as best I can, I could get into that process.
I have nothing against Eugene, but I have a United Healthcare insurance story. So, obviously I cut my foot open, lots of blood, got to get stitches. Yeah. I go to the emergency room. I've had follow-up visits with a wound care specialist. And so I get a letter in the mail the other day. I still have it right here on my desk, actually. And it gives me 4 different options to contact the insurance company because they have questions for me regarding that. So I call. I figure, let me get it resolved right away. And it says, call to speak to a representative to answer these questions. So I call. I put in the case number, and it's an all automated system. So I never actually talk to anybody. But they ask you questions like, did you do this while playing a sport? Did you do this at work? Did you do this, I don't know, flying a kite? I don't really know. But, and basically all they're trying to do is figure out a way to get out of paying for it. It's like, come on, are you kidding me? Sorry, Eugene.
And that's and it's something where it's, I really, really hope that my business never grows to the point where everything is going for efficiency. I hope I never have a business that grows to that level because what happens is that the quality of the work goes down immediately with efficiency, right? There's the 10,000 hour rule, mastery. I can't remember the name of It's a book written by somebody which is absolutely phenomenal. But he was saying that it takes 10,000 hours for you to master something.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I have. I knew it was. You said 10,000 hours. I knew I've heard it before.
Yes, it's you mastering your craft takes 10,000 hours. So there is no simple answer to it. There is no cookie cutter mentality to the body. You know, what deters me away from physical therapy is that a majority of it is scripted. You know, and it's something where it's like I understand that they have an immense amount of knowledge, but what insurance would cover limits what they could do.
Right.
Right. So I was like, I can't be part of that either. I don't want to limit myself. And that's something that's very unique and very challenging in the same way. You know, so going back to the question of insurance is that I address things based off of the person in front of you, their income. What can they afford? Because that's what I'm limited to. That's what I can do.
Sounds reasonable. Sounds good.
All right, Scott, do you have any questions?
No.
Not on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. It's
So
all
let's
you.
talk about, since we're all, business owners here, how important is it for a business owners to consciously make an effort to care about their well-being and their health?
Well, all right. Let's set an example. Blood flow is important, right? So if you have it where your body's getting more oxygenated blood to the brain by being active, say 20 minutes every other day or 30 minutes every other day, that means that you're going to be doing you're going to be able to consciously do better decisions on the day-to-day level, right? And that helps any business. You could be raising sheep. You'll have better decisions made at that point, right? So, and I tell people all the time, like it's not only if I feel sick, it's if I'm emotionally exhausted, I'll tell clients it's better for us to reschedule. The reason why is they're not getting the full effect of what I can do, right? So in terms of health, it's extremely important. It's extremely, extremely important to have it where I'm not only talking well-being, we're not talking about just movement. We're talking about sleep cycles. We're talking about emotional stress. Those are things that alter your decisions on a day-to-day basis. You know, and especially if you're dealing with people's lives, you better be careful. You better be careful about your health because that's limiting what you could do for other people. You know, and that's what we're looking for. It's that wellness is extremely important for everybody. And I don't mean that just so that you can maximize profit. I'm saying that so you could be more conscious of what you're doing on the day-to-day level. You could be more in tune with what you could accomplish on the day-to-day. What is it that you could, what is your limitations is a very big part of that. You know, self-awareness is the only thing I'd love to preach is be aware of what you're doing. You know, because the moment you're aware, it becomes a lot easier for you to change a habit.
So, Abdul, you must really know Scott because his side business is raising sheep.
Nice.
Damn it. Why are you telling me?
So you knew about his injuries. You knew about his side business.
Yeah.
Eugene, you bought a fur coat from me. I mean.
I did. That's how I keep warm in this weather today.
So, yeah, wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Roxanne. Do you like using ultrasound or unaffected repaired surgical sites?
I don't. I don't just because it's ultrasound has ultrasound is challenging because there's it sends vibrations in there, right? So what we're looking for when you come to go into are we talking specifically about scar tissue?
Roxanne.
Yeah.
Increasing blood flow.
Okay, so increasing blood flow with ultrasound is, it will move blood, but there is more effective ways of doing it. So like far infrared saunas would be effective in that realm. And it's not there. I don't think there is anything that's localized, but I'd love to look up on that. But when it comes to increasing blood flow, I do manual. Manual is the way that I go. It's these guys, these thumbs. And it's because it's from that I get the opportunity to really see, to really feel what's going on, and from that increasing blood flow, it's a matter of seeing what's happening above and below the joint, or that source, the source of where blood flow is hindered, and it's fascia. You look at fascia, you look at the muscle above, you look at the joints below, and you see where it's flowing from. I have this theory, and I'm trying to find a way to prove it, where if you feel pain when you're sliding down, so say for example you're going to foam rolling and you slide down a muscle and you feel pain, that's part of the circulatory system. So it would be more on the muscular side. Now, if you're sliding up and you feel pain, there's a possibility, same exact muscle, same exact motion up and down. So if you're sliding up, that'd be more likely lymphatic. And it's just connecting these very far dots together. So, and that's it's a theory, but I still have to find a way to prove that. So.
All right.
So just before we continue, just a reminder, everybody, we do have these T-shirts. If you want to win one, I have a person in the lead. We'll announce in a few minutes, but these are the T-shirts. Eugene was the model, as you can see. No comment, Eugene. So if you want to win a T-shirt, all you have to do is tweet out or share this on Facebook. Make sure you include the hashtag success hacks. We're going to practice saying that over the weekend. And you'll get the one who does it the most gets a T-shirt. And I think it's my turn, Eugene.
Yeah, it is your turn.
That's right. So what are some of the ways business owners can mitigate stress and distress?
Okay. Mitigating stress, you mean so like releasing tension?
Lowering it throughout the day.
Lowering out the, okay, 5 minutes to yourself. I'm not saying meditating. I am saying just shut off everything around you. Just have it so that you do that 3 times a day. You'd be astounded what 15 minutes literally to yourself does. Right?
I'm going to try that today.
You should. And I mean, and I really mean it in the sense that you shut off everything. You tell people that you're in a very important meeting with yourself. Nobody could talk to you about it. And it's something where it's more often than not, you see people that are extremely successful have a very strong routine of play. It's very interesting that you see that, right? People enjoy themselves. They have fun. They ignite the inner youth that's in them through play and fun. So that's something where, it's we're an overactive society. It's flat out. You see people that go into this, you see people that go into this realm of so you see people going to Antarctica, right, and come back where their pace is much, much slower than when they went. That just goes to show you that we've been overstimulated in a significant way. So we're overactive. We're an overactive society. So
it's not that they're just frozen. They're actually
no. They've fallen back to a more contemplative habit. Where we belong. So if we didn't have lights, if we didn't have fake lights around us, right? That means that once the sun sets, we're going to bed, right?
Gotcha.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No,
so that's just a very simplified version of that, where it's just like an analogy that really sets the tone from that. So 5 minutes to yourself is going to do wondrous things. You could do it with your eyes open, your eyes closed. You could do it with pick your favorite color and sit under that light. That's going to do wondrous things. You could let your mind wander. You could focus on your breathing. You could do whatever you want. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to get from that. You'll be able to find yourself in a more relaxed state at the end of it.
I'm going to try that.
Yep. Yeah. They're saying that blue light increases cognitive because it stimulates the occipital lobe really well. Blue lights. So if you sit under blue lights for a while, you get to relax because it's a very calming color, right? My favorite color is blue. It's everywhere. You encounter me more than See, that's what I'm saying.
There's some back there behind Eugene too.
Blue, right? That blue coffee mug. It doesn't look blue, but it's really blue.
Nice. No, blue's a really good color. I love the color blue. And it's something where you'll find that that blue light is very calming. That's just through my experience. I found that if I sit there with music that does not have any words in it, my two favorite, Indian flute and percussions. They're both very good for me in terms of keeping me in this calm state of mind. Under blue light.
White noise. What about white noise?
White noise is phenomenal. It's because you could have you ever had it where you listened to a song while you're exercising and it gave you this extra surge of energy?
Yeah.
That's a meridian channel being activated. The reason why you're getting more energy in your body is because there's a channel of a chakra line that's flowing energy through you better. Took me this long to figure that out, And yes, no flashing lights, Roxanne. That's probably not a good idea. That would make
no cop cars for you, Eugene.
No, none of that stuff. So yeah. All right. Other questions.
Oh, me, I love my strobe lights in the office.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about sleep. So how is it important, especially for business owners, because business owners tend to, brain's always on, can't really fall asleep. How important is it to get the proper sleep?
Let's think about it like this. If you run a marathon and give yourself a 10-minute break and then continue to run a marathon, right? So you do a sprint, 10 minutes, sprint, 10 minutes, sprint, 10 minutes. Don't you think that you'll be able to go through these runs, right? And I'm not talking about going all out, right? I'm saying with consistency. You'll find that every round that you go out there and continue running, it's going to be with less energy and more sloppily, right? So what ends up happening is that you're looking at sleep in that same realm. When you see somebody that functions on only 4 hours of sleep and they've been doing it for decades, where they actually feel groggy and their stomach is churning or their migraines or whatever, because they're trying to increase their hours of sleep, is because they're that far instilled into it. So, like say, for example, you shift the habit, you shift an eating diet from, what's considered normal, think Super Bowl food, right? A lot of refined, very little fiber, very high sodium stuff, right? And you shift that into vegetables, most people will actually feel upset. They'll feel like their stomach is churning. And the reason why is because you're changing the microbiota of your gut, right? You're changing the bacteria that's thriving, and from that, everything changes. And you go everywhere from there. But the analogy that I was giving there ties into the sleeping cycles. It's that when you're sleeping, when you have it where you don't commit enough time to sleeping, you find yourself going into the cycle of it's your work is declining on a consistent level. So sleep is extremely important. And it's some people say, doctors would say 8 hours is the go-to. It really depends on your body. You have to listen to your body. More than anything, you have to listen to your body. These are guidelines. They're not absolute. That's one thing that I've learned about the body is nothing is absolute. What works for Scott won't work for you, Eugene, and what works for you won't work for me. And that's something. That's the reason why I don't have templates. I don't have templates in the work that I do. I can't.
Because everybody's different.
Exactly. You have to acknowledge everything that we have in there. Yeah.
All right. Our last interview question. Are there any tips you would give business owners to help them perform at a high level throughout the day? And should they go for the extra cup of coffee? I know the answer to the second part.
Extra cup of coffee is interesting on what time that extra cup of coffee is. Because if you're 10 minutes from going to bed and you're drinking coffee, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you, a nice deep conversation. Now, so that's the answer that I'll have with coffee, because I'm still getting mixed feedback in terms of coffee. So people say it's bad. Some people say it's good because it has antioxidants in it. And it's increasing blood flow. Funny story. It's a vasodilator, right? So it's like, okay, you are stimulating the brain. That's bad, but you're increasing blood flow. It's good. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about the coffee one, and it's because I don't have a concrete answer on it. Now, what was the first half of the question?
Are there any other tips you give to business owners to help them be more productive?
You should really focusing on giving time to something that you're passionate about. You'd be surprised how much it could change your life.
So outside of work, outside of whatever it is you do.
Now, if you have it where you get into that point where your work is in a point in life that is your passion, then you need time off. You need time off. I'm not saying going on vacation and seeing the world. I mean time off to literally relax. Time off to literally relax. So it's and more than anything, just be self-aware of what you're doing. Just know that you don't have to do anything, but you should focus on what's best for you, because what's best for you is where you could better help the people around you, people that you care about in your work, your employees, whatever else.
So we have a rapid fire round. I don't know if Eugene has shared this with you already. A fire round.
Briefly, yes.
We're gonna. Oh, briefly. Did he tell you what the questions were? Tell the truth. No. Eugene, is he lying?
Nope. He's not.
Okay.
I wouldn't give those questions away. I think I made those questions up after I briefly sent them the other questions of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So,
nice. So I made sure.
Yeah. So 4 quick questions on the spot, just honest answers. So Eugene, fire away.
First question: favorite cartoon character?
Avatar, Aang, by far. Love Aang.
That was too quick. Eugene gave you the answer.
No,
that's I play bullet chess, right? I play 1-minute games for chess. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love.
Do you play regular chess too?
I do. It's just you'll find that my pace is a lot quicker. It's just like a 3-minute game for me is like daunting and long.
Oh, then you probably don't want to play with me. I play chess with friends.
I'd love to play chess, and we should play a game together sometime. Okay.
You have chess with friends?
I don't. I could add you though, and I could add chess with friends. Right. Are you on chess.com?
I'm not, but other people have told me, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And you can do it same concept. I'm sorry. Okay. Back to
no problem. Favorite post-workout meal? Yes, we're trying to wrap up. Favorite post-workout meal?
Chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice. Sounds good to me.
With salsa, yeah.
If you could be one animal, which one and why?
I would want to be. That's a tough question. I'd rather want to be the owl or the snake.
Why?
Owl because very intuitive in nature, very, very intuitive in nature, and snake because it really knows how to pinpoint with a lot of accuracy.
Okay.
Interesting choices. Most people choose lion or tiger or something like that.
I love the tiger, but I love a tiger to pet. So if I'm the tiger, I can't pet myself. So I'm sorry, cats.
You could.
Yeah.
Last thing you watched on Netflix, and if you don't have Netflix, on TV.
Okay. Last thing I watched, quite literally this morning, is Antarctica: Air on the Ice. I watched it again.
Oh, so that's why you brought it up today.
Yep. It's very fresh in my mind.
Research. He's doing his research for the show.
Yeah. No, I watched it before. This is probably like my 3rd time watching it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eugene, answer that question. Last thing you watched on Netflix?
Nurse Jackie. Because my wife watched it, so I'm forced to watch it.
I don't even know what it is. All right, so
how about you, Scott?
Oh, damn it! I actually watch Hulu. I have both, but I was watching Hulu last night. I watched Chicago PD.
Okay.
But I can only watch it on Hulu. I can't watch it on TV.
Yeah.
But all right, so we do have a winner, and it is Roxanne. So Roxanne, thank you for the tweets. Roxanne, you already have my email address, so shoot me an email with your address, and I'll get that and your size, and I'll get that T-shirt out to you. Congrats, Roxanne, and thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Abdul, thanks for joining us today and sharing with us this really good information. And I have a feeling I'm coming to see you once the doctor gives me the okay on the foot.
Yeah.
Um,
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're very welcome to come in and and I'll bring the chessboard. How about that?
Oh, awesome. Even better. That's some meditation for you.
Yep.
That's part of his training is chess. You gotta play chess.
It is. I love it.
It technically is Eastern, right? Chess has been around for forever.
I hear too many things about chess, and that's why I love playing it. I don't want to know about its history. I don't want to know opening.
I don't. If there's anything that's not good, I don't want to know about it either.
Yeah.
It's a fun game to play, and I have some brilliant friends that play chess. Some of them wipe me off the board very easily, but
yeah.
So we will be back next Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Eugene, unless you've got somebody lined up, I don't 100%. I'm hoping to have Marnie Esposito, owner of Moonrocks Gourmet Cookies. Another possibility in the coming weeks, maybe next week, is an interview with Eugene and Josh, who was on, I don't know if he still is, about Traeger Insurance, because we don't really know a whole lot about Traeger except for what Eugene shares with us every week. So he has a puzzled look on his face like right now, like, what? No, I'm not doing that.
No, I just got an email. That's why.
You got an email? Get out. So if you want to watch past episodes, visit growsuccessradio.com. And there's 21 episodes. This one will be up probably later today. Actually, there's 20 episodes. We are missing an episode, so we will go into that a little later this year. And we'll be back next Friday, 10 a.m. Gentlemen, any final thoughts? Come on, baseball season. I'm ready.
Yeah. I mean, football's over, so
yeah.
Baseball's next.
Yeah.
That's right.
Abdul, thank you for getting on.
Yeah. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Grow Success Radio. Have a great day.